Hi, it's Scott Allen for The Raw. Let's have a look at some of the improvements the Wallabies made in their attacking structure against the Pumas on the weekend. Over the last few matches, we've seen the Wallabies working on a structure where Lealifano will take the ball at first receiver. He's got Ashley Cooper outside him and Cooper behind him. That gives the Wallabies three options. Lealifano can take the ball to the line himself, or he can use Ashley Cooper outside him, or he can play out the back to Cooper, who can use the width. Now on this occasion, Lealifano takes the ball in himself, and the Wallabies need to protect the ball at the breakdown. Ashley Cooper was first in, Douglas second, and then Quade Cooper came in as the third player. The rest of the forwards are a little bit slow, and you can see the ball's at the base of the ruck now. If the forwards were in place, Nick White could play the ball immediately. Now this isn't the halfback's fault for leaving the ball at the base of the ruck, it's the forward's fault for not being in position. If they'd moved just that maybe 3 metres around the corner further, they would have been in great position to take the ball and really lift the pace and tempo of the Wallabies attack. As it is, Simmons gets over the gain line, and the Wallabies have got ball carrier +2, so they protect the ball well, and White can play quickly. The Wallabies forwards have worked around the corner, and they've got a pod of 3 that could take this ball short, and my preference, particularly early in a game, would be to see those forwards keep punching the ball through the middle. But the Wallabies have a tendency at the moment to try and play wide early, and that's what they do in this case. It's a long ball out to Slipper, then out the back to Cooper, and they're trying to go around the defence. Whilst they don't turn over the ball here, it's hard work for the forwards to then get into that breakdown, and it messes up the rhythm of the attack going wide early. In this example, Cummins punches the ball, and we've got plenty of Wallabies getting in there to actually secure the ball, and then there's a pod of forwards ready for the next phase. Getting numbers into the breakdown helps protect your ball, and the Wallabies forwards have got this covered. They're going to have a ball carrier +3. This is where the Wallabies have got to get the balance right. There's no need for Lealifano to come in out of the back line to get involved in this breakdown. That just leaves them one short on the next phase if Cooper wants to play out the back. On the next phase, Moore takes the ball forward, but he's only got one forward in support, which drags Ashley Cooper out of the back line to get involved in the breakdown, and again takes another attacker out of the line if the Wallabies want to play wide. On the next phase, the forwards have got a pod ready to take the ball, but instead Lealifano is going to take it out the back. Through this sequence of plays, there's been some good examples of support play and some running options and some poor work. However, after 4 phases, the Wallabies haven't made a single metre, so White takes the option to kick. Unfortunately, it's poorly executed. In the next example, we're going to see that structure with Lealifano at first receiver and again Cooper out the back. And on a dry day, this is where you'd like to see the ball given out the back and someone like Israel Folau in a one-on-one with a bit of room to move. Any opportunity that existed for Folau on that first phase is gone by the time the ball gets to him on the second phase. And although he gets over the gain line, the ball's moved quite laterally across the field. That makes it very hard for the forwards to get to the breakdown and for the next phase. So Cummins and O'Connor have done a good job here protecting the ball, and you can see Nick White looking back, trying to identify his options. Where are my forward runners? As we play on, we'll see that Douglas is the only one that really gets there of the forwards. Cooper has to get into the breakdown. Moore does arrive in time and they save the ball. As we look at the next phase, particularly in the wet, I think a short ball to, say, Simmons with some support behind him is the option, but the Wallabies play the wide ball, and it causes Slipper to have to prop back inside just to stop and get the ball, takes away some of the momentum. They do still retain the ball, and again on the next phase they play a fairly wide pass, and now the Wallabies have only got ball carrier +1 in close proximity, so they're starting to get short on their numbers. And you can see in the next phase again, White's having to wait for his forwards to get in position. When they do eventually get there, there's no momentum for the Wallabies going forward. However, there is a bit of a hole opening up in the Argentine defence, and White has now got 3 running options. He's got Slipper close, Fardy just a little wider, and he's got Lealifano out wider again, who's going to run a beautiful line into that hole that you can see in front of you. White identifies the right option to take, and Lealifano's through the line. The try that's going to come from this is set up by the work of Slipper and Fardy, who get into this breakdown early. There's no chance the Argentinians can disrupt the ball, and then it's just good quick hands, and obviously Folau's got some work to do to finish it off, which he does brilliantly. In this next clip, Lealifano's going to take the ball into contact, and it's your number 7 Hooper who's the first player into the attacking ruck. This is exactly what a number 7 needs to be doing as often as they possibly can, getting in early, protecting the ball. He then gets some help from Fardy, so the back row are working well, and that means we've got fast ball ready to play again, and it's Tamani who's coming around the corner. Only issue here is that Tamani's on his own. He really doesn't have any close support, so when he takes the ball into contact, you've got to have your number 10 going into the breakdown as your second player in there to protect the ball. And again, that takes someone out of the attacking line for the next phase. But at least the forwards have got around the corner, they've got a pod ready to run the ball. Unfortunately, White chooses the wrong option and executes a very poor kick. At least this week I've been able to show you some examples where the Wallabies are starting to show some signs of teamwork in their attack. Let's hope it continues to improve.